If you're considering a career in law, maybe you've always wanted to be a lawyer, or maybe you're studying law currently, but you're not 100% sure whether you want to pursue it, or maybe you've watched a few episodes of Suits and you're like, that is a bit of me. This video is going to provide you with advice on how to get a job in law today. To provide you guys with the best and most relevant advice, I've gone out there to you as law students and as graduates, and I've asked you, what questions do you want to ask lawyers about the job role, about the application process, and for tips on how to make your application stand out from the crowd and get hired in this very competitive field. I've put your questions forward to friends of mine who are currently smashing it in the world of law as trainees and as recently qualified lawyers. They work for the likes of Gowling, Shoesmiths, DWF, and they come from corporate backgrounds, commercial law backgrounds, family law backgrounds, and employment law too. Now, these are obviously people that have recently been there, done that. They were in your position once, and they have provided me with some amazing advice that will help you if you're thinking about considering a career in law. Now, I myself did a law degree and I'm currently an in-house paralegal at a global company. So in this video, I'm also going to talk about the in-house setting and provide my insight on an in-house role, which will be useful if you haven't maybe considered that before. And I'm going to talk about how I got that role without having had any work experience in a law firm. So hopefully that will also help you when you're trying to figure out which legal pathway, if any, is right for you. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and share with any of your friends or anyone you know that may be considering a career in law. And if you're in need of some more careers advice, don't forget to subscribe to Bloom. Now, from my research and from my own experience, and of course from talking to my amazing solicitor friends who are smashing it currently, these are the skills and qualities that everybody needs to have in order to be successful in the legal field. Now, you want to be filtering these skills into your applications. Use the language, use these as keywords, and back it up with evidence of experience in your applications. The specific skills that you need in order to be a good paralegal and a good trainee are also as follows. Adaptability. So a training contract, for example, is 2 years, and every 6 months you're going to be in a completely different seat, which often means an entirely new department and a new team, and sometimes even doing completely different work. So you've got to be able to pick up new skills quickly, fit into new teams, and to show that, you know, I'm not fazed by new challenges. Now, my friend who's currently doing her training contract says that this is one of the toughest things about being a trainee, because you're thrown into new situations, you've got to pick up new tasks and responsibilities with new people, and then by the time that you get the hang of it, you've got to move on to do something else. So if you can demonstrate in your CVs and in your applications times, experiences, and situations where you have been able to quickly pick up work and do it effectively and lead to positive results, law firms are absolutely going to love that. Now, as you'll be supporting senior colleagues, associates, and partners in paralegal and trainee roles, you're going to have to be responsible, proactive, and able to work independently. And if you don't require micromanagement, you can just get on with a job and not have to be, you know, told what to do all the time and checked in on. That is absolutely going to be a massively attractive quality to a law firm, because lawyers don't have time to handhold. Another great piece of advice from my trainee friends is that you'll often be asked to research something thoroughly by, you know, a partner or an associate, and they're going to be relying on that research or on your feedback or on your proofreading. So you've got to be someone that takes instructions well and does every task, no matter how big or small, to the best of your ability. And you've got to be diligent. You've got to have attention to detail, because they're going to be relying on your work. Tech skills are another great quality to have, especially as a paralegal. Nowadays, law firms are moving away from like the more traditional, archaic ways of working, you know, paper and files, and they're becoming digitalized. So if you are a whiz on Word and Excel and on computer software, they're really going to rely on you for that support. So feed that into your CV. I taught myself to become a bit of a whiz on Word and Excel because I knew that would really help me in my paralegal role, where we're using spreadsheets, where we're using Word all the time for drafting. And I came across loads of like little tips and tricks and shortcuts for drafting that when I show like my senior lawyer colleagues how to do it, they're like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I just Googled it. Now, on top of these skills, a massively attractive quality that is going to be both an asset to an employer and an asset to yourself if you want to pursue a career in law is commitment and dedication. Every single lawyer I've spoken to says that if you aren't truly committed, because you are going to be competing with people who really want it and have always wanted to be a lawyer, it's going to be really tough for you. So make sure that you take that into account when considering whether it's the right career path for you. If it is what you want to do, you've got to come up with a strategy and a plan to making sure that your applications stand out from the crowd, which is exactly what the next part of this video covers. How do you make your application stand out in amongst the other hundreds or maybe even thousands of applicants applying for paralegal roles and applying for training contracts? The most common piece of advice from all of my lawyer friends is that you've got to tailor every single application, and I know this is long, but it will be worth it. Tailor every single application you do and draw a meaningful connection with that firm or with that company that you're applying to in order to make yourself stand out from everyone else. So don't just copy and paste every single time. I know that that can be so tempting because these applications can take a long time, but if you really want it, you've got to go the extra mile and show a connection and a real passion for and love for the firm itself or the company itself that you're applying to, and for that area of law or the industry or department that you're applying to as well. Take time to learn about the individual company. Do your research. Don't just go on the website because everyone can do that. Go on their LinkedIn, their social media platforms, look for legal news articles that mention the firm, take note of any events, posts or stories. Maybe they're talking about cases or they provided legal comments on things that interest you and that you can relate to, and add that to your applications. You know, hone in on their values and their culture as well, and draw connections and lines with yourself and your personalities to show that you're a really great fit for them. You could also draw a personal connection with the area of law that you're applying to as well. So maybe you're really driven and motivated to go into family law and child law because you went through your parents' divorce as a child, and so you're motivated to protect the interests and well-being of children. That's really going to make yourself shine in amongst other applicants, and emotion sells as well. If you haven't got any previous legal work experience, don't worry, because again, my legal friends have told me law firms nowadays know how competitive it is, so they're expecting people to be coming to them without having had any previous legal work experience, but that just means that you've got to demonstrate your skills in other ways. So present evidence of those soft, transferable key skills in your applications. You know, you can tie them to part-time jobs that you might have had, voluntary roles, or any relevant projects or hobbies that you have. So all those key skills like communication, leadership, team player skills, organisation, adaptability, tech skills, make sure that you're providing evidence in other ways. And this applies to any job that you're applying for as well, not just legal roles. Without the evidence, the reader's just going to be like, okay, great, so am I just taking a chance on you saying you're great at something when, you know, where's the proof? Another top tip from my friends who have secured training contracts is to apply early. Now, this is killer advice, and it's something that I didn't actually know when I graduated as a law student and I was applying for jobs, and that is that most firms start processing applications as soon as they receive them. So this means that your chances of getting shortlisted and getting picked are going to be higher the earlier that you apply, because your odds are going to lower the more that time gets on and spaces start getting given out. You know, there's going to be 15 spaces available at the start, and as they start shortlisting people, there's going to be 2 left at the end. So don't leave it till the last minute. Get in there early. There's actually certain websites which I'll pop on the screen that tell you year by year the dates in which training contract applications open by firm. So if there are particular firms or particular companies that you'd love to apply to, get those set as reminders in your calendar, and make sure that you aren't drafting your applications as it opens. Draft them beforehand, so literally as soon as they open, you can submit your application straight away and be one of the first to apply. Plus, these hiring managers that are going to be inundated with hundreds or maybe even thousands of applications, they're going to get bored. So be one of the first applications that the hiring manager sees whilst they're still enthusiastic and whilst they're still awake. Now, another way to make yourself stand out from the crowd is to get noticed in person. You want to get your face out there, especially if you're someone that's personable and you're really confident with people. If you can get in front of law firms, you're going to be showcasing those communication skills already, which is going to be really attractive to them. So if there's any careers fairs that are going on at your university, especially the law fairs where the firms actually turn up, make sure you're at all of those. Look out for open days at firms as well. And I think they do like first year schemes as well, some law firms too, so get involved in them. Some of my friends that were part of law firms as trainees invited me to like open evenings where there was only like a guest list, if you like, and then once you're there, you're being presented with talks from other trainees, from other solicitors, and then the actual recruiters are there too. So just showing your face and making your name available to them and showing them that you're passionate about that firm is going to be a massive foot in the door for you. So just get yourself out there to events. I know they're probably going to be virtual at the moment because COVID, but you know, even any virtual events that are going on too, just sign up and make sure that you're really getting your face out there. This is a massive tip that all of my friends that have made it into law firms as newly qualified solicitors said this is absolutely key. You also asked if the lawyers had any tips for interviews. So first up, you want to dress the part. Law is obviously a very professional field, so you want to show in your interview that you are professional and you are going to be a great professional representative of that firm if they were to hire you. So dress the part, put on a blazer, put on a power suit, and look like a lawyer.
Totally look the part.
Now, secondly, if you get invited to an interview, typically you're going to be told the names of the associates or the partners that are going to be on that interview panel. So do your research on them, as well as doing your research on the company and the firm. Do your research on those individuals too, so that when it comes to the end of the interview and they say to you, do you have any questions for us? You can ask questions that are tailored at those individuals, which is just going to make you come across as massively enthusiastic, massively passionate, and that you're really keen to get the role, that you've gone the extra mile and you've done your homework on them too. Go on their LinkedIn and have a little stalk at, you know, their background. Did they maybe go to the same university as you or something? Can you draw a connection? What area of law do they do that you can ask them about? Did they do any secondments that you maybe want to ask them about for, you know, their personal experience? Asking questions like that and showing genuine interest in them is going to build rapport and connection, a personal connection in that interview, which is really going to make yourself stand out and come across well. Remember as well that at the end of the day, the people hiring you are people too, and above all, they're going to want to hire people that they like and that they get along with, on top of all those other skills, okay? You're potentially going to be spending really long days, really long hours with them, so they're going to want to know that you can get on well. So try not to be too rigid and too robotic in your interviews. I know the nerves are going to be up there, but fake it till you make it, okay? Act confident and try and inject some personality into the interview as well. So, you know, be personable, have a bit of banter, have some conversations outside of the standard interview questions as well. Again, it's all about establishing that rapport, and if you can demonstrate your down-to-earth nature, that's going to be a really attractive quality in the field of law, because people just want to work with people that they're going to enjoy spending time with. So a lot of you asked about how to figure out if a career in law is the right choice for you. And this is something that I really myself battled with at university. I studied law and it kind of put me off going into law at the time, because I was like, oh my God, there's people who are so, I love the law, and they've got training contracts in first year. And I was like, if I'm going to be up against these people, I'm not sure whether I'm committed and really want it. Am I even going to get a job? So it completely threw me. So my advice, and the advice again from all my solicitor friends, is to go out there and get experience, get first-hand experience in firms, in companies, in in-house roles, and try things that you can test the water and really see if it's something that you can envisage yourself doing. So if you can get any work experience, work shadowing, internships, even if it's unpaid, I know it's really rubbish, but if it's a couple of days, maybe like in your summer or in any of like your breaks at university, you want to be in that environment and around lawyers and in the field to see if the buzz and the energy actually suits you. I always say choosing a job is like choosing the right pair of shoes. Something might look great on the shelf, or someone else might say to you like, oh, they're amazing, but until you try them on and walk around in them, you're not going to know if they're the right fit for you. So you've absolutely got to apply that same approach to testing out different career pathways for you, whether it's a legal route or otherwise. Just try things and get as much experience as possible. So get in touch with firms that you like, get in touch with companies, look online for opportunities where, yes, it's going to be great to get those names on your CV, but just for your own personal benefit as well. Try it on and see if it feels like a good fit for you. From my own experience as well, studying law is nothing like how it works in the real world and how it is in practice. You know, as an in-house paralegal, I deal with drafting contracts all the time. Contract law was my first module and I was like, pfft. But until you get it in context and until you're actually in that environment and putting it into practice, it's completely different. So just give it a chance. Even if you decide it's not for you, at least you know that you've explored that option and you've explored that route. So going back to the advice from my friends who are currently lawyers and trainees, their advice on picking the right legal pathway for you, one of the key things they said was to follow your heart. And I kind of have touched on this before, but if there's something that you really love and that you're really drawn towards, whether it's a firm or a company or an area of law, having that passion and enthusiasm is going to shine through in your applications, and it's really going to help guide you to a role that fulfills you. So whilst there may be some areas of law, corporate, that the salary may be six-figure salaries and there may be all these sort of additional monetary benefits, you know, really consider lifestyle and work-life balance, and again consider whether that area of law or firm you're applying to is something that you are truly passionate about, because you don't want to get a few years in and be like, oh my god, what have I done? Because the longer, when you commit to an area of law, you're kind of then on that train, and the harder it is to switch. So figure out what you want to do, try things early on, and then, you know, make a beeline for where your heart really lies. My final tip is to make sure that you do your research on the practical side of becoming a lawyer. So like the qualifications that you need and the cost. If you are absolutely committed, it's an investment in yourself, so it's something you need to do. So it's a real positive investment. But again, if you're a little bit unsure, just consider the next steps that you're going to need to take in order to qualify as a solicitor in the future. So a lot of you asked me about how I went about getting my in-house paralegal role. So just to give you a little bit of background about me and my story, went to university, actually started studying English language. Did it for a few months and decided it wasn't for me. I'd never done law before, but I hopped in on a few of my friends' law lectures because I always loved like criminal law and really enjoyed it, and then ended up making the switch. As mentioned before, as I was studying, really wasn't sure if it was for me, so I just focused on my studies and I did a load of extracurricular stuff at uni, drama, sports. I always had part-time jobs, so I was always mentoring and doing stuff like that as well, so gaining loads of extracurricular experience. When it came to graduating, I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I thought it would be a good idea to apply for graduate schemes. I'd always really loved and had an interest in sales and marketing, so started applying for sales and marketing graduate schemes so I could get sort of a broad experience of being in sort of a commercial environment inside a company. So I ended up getting a graduate scheme in Birmingham in sales and marketing. It was a fast track graduate scheme. So I was doing the graduate scheme. I'd obviously moved away from law, but as I was in that role, my manager knew that I had a background in law. And when I was in the sales role and in the sales department, as we were onboarding new clients, obviously every new client needed an agreement in place. So I ended up kind of like falling into like a legal assistant dual role where I was supporting our external legal counsel on the negotiations and drafting of these agreements. I really enjoyed it. I love words and I love writing, and I was like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm actually really enjoying this. And then I was like, okay, I've got my legal background, I've got now this drafting experience, which you need in a commercial paralegal role. So I wondered, okay, are there any other opportunities now that I can apply for? I came across an in-house paralegal role in a global company that was asking for the drafting responsibilities experience that I'd been picking up and developing in this dual legal assistant graduate role that I was doing. So I thought, I'm going to apply for the job. I knew someone that had been on secondment in the department. She put in a good word for me. They invited me to interview. In my interview, I made sure that I was demonstrating all of the transferable skills that they said they required on the job description. I was demonstrating those when I was answering the behavioural questions by backing it up with evidence of my experience from my graduate scheme, from my part-time roles, from my roles as a mentor, you know, displaying leadership, organisation, team player qualities, and that seemed to do the trick because I got the job. So I appreciate that my way in is very unconventional, and obviously I drew on my networking skills and my personal connection with someone that was able to provide me with a recommendation. So this is why I advise you to network with as many people as possible. If there's firms or companies that you like the sound of, connect with people on LinkedIn, establish a rapport and a connection, and ask them for advice on how to get you in, because it may be that the same thing can happen to you and then they end up looking out for your application because they already like the sound of you. So draw on or make personal connections with people that can help you get your foot in the door. So they are the top tips from both myself with my experience as an in-house paralegal and some amazing advice from my friends that are trainees and solicitors. Thank you so much to you guys. I really hope that this has been really beneficial and provided you with some really relevant, current and useful tips to anyone that's thinking about applying for a career in law. I hope I haven't put you off. I hope it's really encouraged you to go out there and figure out what's right for you, to try things and to go and smash your applications again. Just feed in all the key skills that you can, feed in all the evidence of those skills too, and remember to tailor every single application, especially for the firms that you really would love to be a part of. Tailor your applications with something stand out by drawing a personal connection to that firm or to that area of law. If you follow all these tips, I'm sure you'll really increase your chance of getting hired and increase your chance of figuring out exactly which pathway is right for you. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to check out my other videos as well on how to write the perfect CV, how to answer the really tough interview questions, because they will obviously come up in any legal interviews that you have. And make sure you check out my video, which I will link above, on how to beat the online tracking system, which goes into detail about how these systems work. So law firms will be using these systems to shortlist applications, and what you need to do in order to make sure that you get shortlisted. So whether it's the keywords, the format of your application, or the whole networking and evading the system in order to get yourself noticed, make sure you check that one out too. Thank you so much again. Best of luck with your applications. Go smash it. And if you have any other questions that you want to ask myself or my friends, we'll be happy to do so. So drop me a comment down below. Thanks everyone.